Sometimes when you're weaving, you will have a problem where the warp will break. This can happen for a couple of different reasons, but I usually find that there's a slight thinness in the warp thread in some spots, and the heddle going against it will cause it to break. Another reason that I sometimes have to replace a warp thread is that I've gotten a knot in there and I didn't see it when I was doing the initial warping, and I don't want a knot in my project, so I will cut my warp and replace it. So I've done that here. I've cut my warp. The old warp the rest of it is over the back of the loom, and now I need to replace this. I have cut a contrasting color here so that it's easier for you to see, but it's the same kind of warp thread. And I have cut this to be as long as it needs to be between here and over the loom, plus about 12 inches. I need to have it be able to hang off with weight in order to keep a tension here. So I'm going to wind this around my fingers, and I'm going to put it inside of a pill bottle that I have around. I save these and use them a lot. And inside I have coins, and these coins are going to be used to add weight to the warp threads so that it will have a similar tension to those warp threads on the loom. I'm going to put this inside and put the lid on. And I'm going to place it just over the back. Next, I need my sleigh hook, and I'm going to feed the end of the new warp thread through either the hole or the slot that it needs to be in. Now I need some way to be able to attach this on, otherwise every time I move it, it's going to fall out. So I'm going to put a T-pin here right below where the missing warp thread is. Then I'm going to do a figure 8 around the T-pin to make sure it's secure, so that then I can put my bottle over the back and let the tension tighten it. Now as I am weaving, I am going to have to move my warp, and as that pill bottle or weight off of the back gets closer and closer, I will have to undo that and let out more of the warp, new warp thread. Another thing I could do though is, once that warp thread that broke and is over the back gets close enough and I'm able to pin it in the same way as what I did here, I could add that in. Now at the end of my project, I do want to make sure that I have this well secured. I would take out the T-pin. In fact, I don't even want to have this T-pin go around the front apron of my loom. Once you get to the point where your fabric is ready to go over, you'll want to remove the T-pin so that it won't scratch your loom. And by that point, you won't need it because there'll be enough weft threads there to be able to lock that warp thread in. So at the very end, I'm going to take my tapestry needle and I'm going to weave the old warp thread matching the weaving that's already there right alongside of this new warp thread. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the new warp thread. I'm going to use a tapestry needle to weave down. That way they're crossing over each other, and that fabric will be very secure there. And that is how you replace a warp thread.